What's up everyone, we are back with another video. It's been a while, I know, just felt like making another video. But in this video, I'm going to be talking about my top 5 Gen 1 Pokemon. This video seems out of the blue. Reason is, 2 reasons actually. 1, I'm pretty hyped for Pokemon Scarlet and Violet. Want to get my hands on the game. Been kind of hyped about it. Using this video to kind of let out that excitement. And number 2, have to congratulate my boy Ash for finally becoming the world champion. This is for you, fam. And without further ado, we're gonna get right into it with number 5. Now with number 5, I'm gonna admit the reasoning is a bit shallow, but it's gonna be Ninetales. Now with Ninetales, legitimately the only reason he's on this list, he just looks cool. I think he's probably one of the more perfect looking Pokemon, and I think every part of his design is just like perfectly picked. Now from what I understand, I believe Ninetales, like it isn't, you know, an original concept by Pokemon. I've seen it in other games I've played, I've seen it in other movies I've watched, but I think, you know, kind of the take that Pokemon took is just really nice and refreshing. I've seen Ninetales in other games, and usually it's kind of like this grand, bigger than life kind of god, and it's very like complex in terms of design. But with Pokemon, it's just a simple fox with 9 tails. It looks kind of cool. And one thing that I really like about Pokemon, and I don't know if this is kind of built into the mythos of Ninetales and what color it's supposed to be, but I really dig the color that Pokemon chose for Ninetales, because, you know, it's a fire fox in Pokemon, and, you know, just by hearing that, you would think that it's gonna be like a deep orange fox or a red fox or maybe even like a yellow fox, but they picked like a nice off-white yellowish color, and for some reason I really dig that. Like if they went too red or orange, that would just make it look very basic, but because they picked this off-white color for Ninetales, to me it just matches perfectly well, and I really like Ninetales because of that, and that's why it's number 5. Now with number 4, this is where it gets a bit more interesting, and for me number 4 is Eevee. For obvious reasons, Eevee is just a really cool Pokemon. I just love the concept that when you give it a certain stone, it evolves into that type of Pokemon, and I kind of wish that there were more Eevees, or there was even like an Eevee type Pokemon per gen. I think the concept of a Pokemon that can just turn into any type based on the stone is way too cool to be wasted just on one Pokemon. I don't think there's any Pokemon like that. I don't follow Pokemon that closely. Originally, I wanted to put Umbreon at number 4. Then I sadly realized Umbreon is not Gen 1. That was added later. So that's why Eevee in general is just my number 4. If I had to pick from the Gen 1 forms of Eevee, which is my favorite, it would probably be Jolteon. Electric is just kind of a type I really like. And also just really like Eevee. I believe Eevee is kind of like a fox Pokemon. Similar with Ninetales. I just like foxes. I think they're kind of cool, and Eevee just being this cool fox Pokemon that kind of looks kind of raccoonish, it's just appealing to me. It looks kind of nice visually, and the concept is really the main thing that brings it to number 4. At number 3, and this is actually surprising to me because I didn't know what my top 5 was before I actually started making this list, and it's Abra. Now starting here in this list is where the reasoning is going to be focused on the actual games. So the game that I played when I was a kid was Pokemon Leaf Green. That's the only Pokemon game I had. That's the one I played over and over again, and when the first time I saw Abra on one of the routes when I was walking and he just showed up, I was like, what the hell is this shit? I've been training here for like an hour. This is the first time I'm seeing this, and I tried to catch him, he teleported away, you know, the whole thing. And just his design for some reason to me looks so damn cool. Just like his very saturated, almost shiny looking yellow. I don't know if this is what it is, but I always thought he was kind of like gold. Like he looked like he was like made out of gold. And sidebar really quick, what's up with Pokemon 3D models just not evoking that same feeling at all? Like I swear to God, like I mentioned with Abra, in the sprite version, he looks very saturated, he looks shiny, and he looks gold, at least to me. When you look at the 3D model, he just looks like desaturated, kind of mild yellow rubber. And like that kind of happens with every Pokemon. I really hope that they start kind of veering to the more stylistic option of making Pokemon look more interesting. They're kind of doing that with Scarlet and Violet by giving textures to things. Finally, so hopefully we get there at some point where, you know, Pokemon also kind of evoke different materials, because Abra definitely to me was more of a shiny Pokemon rather than a rubber Pokemon. All right, back to the video. And yeah, so like Abra, not only for, you know, the visual reasons, but also that nostalgic reason of finding him randomly on the route, trying to catch him and him teleporting away, and finally actually being able to catch him and add him to my team was a cool feeling. And even like now, I think I was replaying one of them recently and I completely forgot, you know, he was the thing, and when I saw him again, the same feelings came back. So that's why Abra is number 3 on my list. Number 2 is my homie, the homie, Pidgeot. Now, when people play the games, I feel like a lot of people usually keep their starter on the team, and that's a constant, you know, throughout the entire game. This is the same for me. The starter's always on my team. But also with me, I also had a second buddy that was with me through the entire game, non-negotiable, and that was Pidgeot. For some reason, I don't know if it's all Pokemon games, my main 2 people that have to be on my team is my starter and the original bird Pokemon, whatever kind of bird you catch first. I evolved that boy up, and that's on my team, and that has to be Pidgeot. Pidgeot is just so dope. I own cockatiels. Pidgeot kind of looks like a cockatiel with his, you know, hair crown thing. So like I like him because of that too. But yeah, Pidgeot, I thought it was always one of the most dope looking Pokemon. He looked cool, and you know, like most genuine Pokemon, he kind of has the simplicity of like not looking too crazy. He looks like pretty much like a normal bird, and that was kind of appealing to me. I like his multicolored hair, that was cool too. And yeah, again, just the reason from the games of him being my partner throughout the entire story. He really felt like my homie through the games. That just, you know, puts him very high on the list. Another sidebar. Why is there, if anyone can tell me, that'd be awesome. Is there a reason the names are Pidgey, Pidgeotto, Pidgeot? Like, I feel like, at least, you know, in English, I feel like it should be Pidgey, Pidgeot, Pidgeotto. Like, there's kind of like an evolution of the name getting longer, but Pidgeot is the third one. I have a feeling in Japanese it makes a lot more sense, but at least in English it's very confusing. It's always been confusing to me. I always think Pidgeotto is the third evolution, but it's Pidgeot. If there's a reason, let me know. Okay, let's go back. Oh yeah, and so for those reasons, disregarding the name sidebar, Pidgeot comes at number 2. And finally at number 1, not a surprise, but it's the homie Blastoise. Pretty much the starter Pokemon. I feel like a lot of people would put this on their list, but yeah, for me, the starter Pokemon, for me, it was Squirtle. That has to be number 1, non-negotiable. Funnily enough, is not because of the design. I don't think Squirtle or Blastoise like really look that cool. Like, they look fine, but you know, just for the same reasons as a Pidgeot. When I was young and I played Pokemon for the first time, water was the element that just appealed to me the most for whatever reason, and that happened to be Squirtle. In Gen 1, I picked him, evolved him up to Blastoise, and that he was just my main homie along with Pidgeot as I played, you know, the entire game. And one thing I do appreciate about Blastoise's design is that his cannons are just dope as hell. Like, if you look at Charizard, honestly, I know a lot of people like Charizard. Charizard's probably one of my least favorite designs. He's just like a basic dragon. Like, if you just imagine dragon, you imagine dragons. No, if you just imagine a dragon, you think of kind of a Charizard. Like, there's nothing, you know, specific to his design. Blastoise, for some reason, having like cannons on his back, like they're not even organic cannons. They're straight up polished steel metal cannons on his back. I think it's just a cool concept. Yeah, I just think that's a dope part of his design and something that's very specific to Blastoise. If you think about a turtle with a cannon on his back, you think of Blastoise. Whereas if you think of like a dragon, like just Charizard, his design is very uninspired in my opinion compared to Blastoise. So yeah, that part of the design I really like, but mostly he's number 1 on my list. I feel like he has to be, even if I hated his design, he would have to be number 1 just because he was my main homie throughout the entirety of Gen 1, as he was always my starter that I had with me throughout the entire journey, and that's why he's at number 1. So yeah, that makes my top 5 list for Pokemon Gen 1. So to go back, it's number 5 Ninetales, 4 Eevee, 3 Abra, 2 Pidgeot, and 1 Blastoise. Please let me know what your top 5 is too. Something very interesting when I was making this video is that I didn't have a top 5 at all. It even took me a bit to think of my number 1. I just defaulted to my starter from that, and then from then I just looked at a picture of every genuine Pokemon and picked what I wanted. Some honorable mentions that didn't make to the top 5. Porygon, I think he's pretty cool looking. Snorlax, just for his entire lore of like the Pokeflute and getting him away from the road, I think is pretty fun. Charmeleon, I actually really like from the 3 designs of Charmander, Charmeleon, Charizard. Charmeleon to me is definitely the coolest. He just looks cool. His color is like a deep orange red. I think that's awesome. I feel like Charizard should have been that color, but I'll leave that for another video. Scyther, cool. Knife hands. Hitmonlee, I think is pretty dope, and Arcanine is pretty cool too. So yeah, those are the Pokemon I like. Please let me know your Pokemon down below. Please like, comment, subscribe. I'm gonna be trying to make more videos. I have a bit more time now from what I do, so I'm gonna be trying to make more videos on this channel. Thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you later.